MS-13, one of the world's most feared and violent gangs, is notorious not just for murder, but for torture. Their brutality goes far beyond the street-level violence of most gangs. MS-13 employs horrifying methods of torture to dominate enemies, discipline members, and terrorize communities. From machete attacks and live burials to waterboarding, burning, and psychological warfare, their acts are designed to inflict maximum pain and fear. These aren't random acts of violence, they're deliberate, ritualistic displays of control. This is the dark world of MS-13 torture methods, where suffering is slow, death is symbolic, and fear is their most powerful weapon. Number 8. Burned alive. MS-13's execution by fire. Among the many savage tactics used by MS-13, none is more horrifying than execution by fire. It's not just murder, it's spectacle. It's a message written in flames, meant to strike terror into everyone who sees or hears about it. In 2015, in El Salvador, a chilling discovery was made in a sugarcane field outside of San Miguel. A teenage boy, suspected of switching allegiances to a rival gang, had been tied to a wooden post and burned alive. MS-13 members watched, laughing, as the fire consumed him. His screams were said to echo across the valley. The gang left his charred body for the authorities to find, a warning to all. In 2018, in Guatemala, MS-13 operatives doused a rival with gasoline and set him on fire in the middle of a crowded neighborhood. The act was filmed and shared on encrypted channels. It wasn't just an execution, it was propaganda meant to show their dominance. Closer to home, in 2020, Houston police responded to a fire at an abandoned warehouse. Inside, they found a burned corpse chained to a chair. Witnesses later reported hearing screams the night before. Investigators linked the scene to an MS-13 cell operating out of Southwest Houston. The victim? A former associate accused of betrayal. Fire is the ultimate purifier in the gang's twisted ideology, a way to erase enemies completely, leaving behind only ash and fear. Execution by fire isn't just about killing the body. It's about incinerating the soul and sending a flaming signal to all who might dare cross MS-13. Number 7. Left to rot. MS-13's torture by starvation and dehydration. MS-13 is known for machetes and gunfire, but some of their darkest torture methods leave no immediate marks, only suffering drawn out over time. One of the most inhumane is starvation and dehydration, a method designed not to kill quickly, but to crush a person from the inside out. In 2017, in a remote part of El Salvador, police discovered an abandoned home used as a gang hideout. Inside, they found a small, windowless room with chains attached to the wall. Neighbors later testified that screams had echoed from the house for days. The victim, a 19-year-old suspected of talking to a rival clique, was locked in the room without food or water for over a week. By the time authorities arrived, he was dead, his body emaciated, lips cracked, and eyes sunken. In 2019, in Honduras, a teenage girl was kidnapped by MS-13 after refusing a gang member's advances. She was locked in a dirt-floor cellar beneath a gang-controlled building. For 6 days, she was given nothing but a few sips of water and no food. She survived, barely, and later described the hallucinations, the stomach cramps, and the overwhelming feeling of being buried alive inside her own body. Starvation and dehydration are used by MS-13 as slow torture, a way to make victims suffer in silence, away from cameras and noise. It's also used as punishment within the gang, for betrayal, disrespect, or even minor failures. No screaming, no stabbing, just silence, and a slow descent into death. This is MS-13's message. Even if they don't kill you with a blade, they can still make you beg for death. Number 6. Drowning in fear. MS-13's use of waterboarding and drowning simulations. For MS-13, torture isn't just physical, it's psychological. Among their most terrifying methods is waterboarding and drowning simulation, a form of slow, calculated torment designed to break the human mind before the body. In 2017, in Northern Virginia, MS-13 members kidnapped a teenager they suspected of being an informant. He was taken to a basement and tied down. Gang members poured water over a soaked cloth covering his face, again and again, simulating the terror of drowning. The boy begged for mercy between gasps for air. It wasn't meant to kill him, not right away, but to send a message. There's no escape from MS-13. In El Salvador, interrogations often begin with buckets of water and plastic bags. In one case, a young man was suspected of talking to rivals. He was held face down in a barrel of water, pulled out just before losing consciousness, then slammed back in. The process lasted hours, a cycle of suffocation, revival, and terror. By the end, he confessed to crimes he didn't even commit. In the gang's eyes, this form of torture serves multiple purposes. It inflicts no visible wounds, leaves the victim mentally shattered, and trains younger members in control, patience, and cruelty. Waterboarding isn't just a military tactic. In MS-13's world, it's a ritual of domination carried out in abandoned houses, basements, and prison cells. Victims who survive are forever haunted by the sensation, the helplessness, the panic, the belief that every breath may be their last. For MS-13, fear is the most powerful weapon, and few things are more terrifying than drowning without water. Number 5. Buried alive. MS-13's ultimate torture. Live burial. In the brutal world of MS-13, death is never just death. It is a performance, slow, agonizing, and unforgettable. One of the most horrifying torture methods used by the gang is live burial, a chilling punishment reserved for traitors, rivals, or anyone who dares defy the rules. In 2017, in El Salvador, authorities discovered a mass grave on the outskirts of San Salvador. Among the bodies, one told a terrifying story. A teenage girl, accused of helping a rival gang, had been beaten unconscious, tied up, and buried alive by MS-13 members. Soil was found in her lungs, proof she had still been breathing when the dirt was thrown over her. She died, gasping, clawing at the earth, alone in the dark. That same year, in Houston, Texas, a missing persons case led police to an MS-13-controlled woodland area. After days of searching, they uncovered a shallow grave. The victim, a 21-year-old man, had been gagged and buried in a plastic tarp. His autopsy revealed signs of asphyxiation and trauma consistent with being alive when buried. Investigators later confirmed he was killed for refusing to carry out a hit for the gang. Live burial is more than execution. It's psychological warfare. Victims die slowly, fully aware of their fate, surrounded by silence, suffocating in fear. MS-13 uses this method to send a message. Disrespect brings not just death, but horror. And for those who witness it, or survive hearing the screams from underground, the fear never fades. Number 4. Ripped from the flesh. MS-13's torture by tooth extraction and nail removal. In the sadistic world of MS-13, torture is an art, and pain is used as both punishment and power. One of their most disturbing methods? Tooth extraction and nail removal, gruesome techniques designed to inflict maximum agony while keeping the victim alive. In 2016, Los Angeles police uncovered a chilling case. A young man who had tried to leave MS-13 was captured by his former brothers. Over the course of several hours, they ripped out 3 of his front teeth with pliers. No anesthesia, no mercy. They wanted to teach him a lesson. Once you're in, there's no way out. In 2018, a teenage girl in El Salvador was tortured by MS-13 members who suspected her of associating with a rival gang. She was held in a shack on the outskirts of town. Her captors used rusted tools to pry off her fingernails, one by one, while asking questions she couldn't answer. She survived, but with permanent disfigurement, both physically and emotionally. These acts aren't just violence, they're calculated. Tooth and nail removal are used to break a victim's spirit, to humiliate them, to make every moment of survival feel like a curse. And these methods aren't limited to the streets. Inside prison walls, inmates have faced the same fate. In one Texas prison, an MS-13 member was punished for disrespecting a shot caller. His punishment: 2 teeth forcibly removed using a sharpened toothbrush and brute force. This is the kind of horror that MS-13 thrives on, not just killing, but crushing every ounce of a victim's will to live. Number 3. Fear without mercy. MS-13. Psychological warfare. MS-13 doesn't just kill, they conquer minds. Their most powerful weapon isn't always a machete or a gun, it's fear itself. Through calculated acts of psychological warfare, MS-13 controls communities, recruits youth, and silences enemies, without ever pulling a trigger. In 2017, in Long Island, New York, a 15-year-old girl witnessed her classmate being lured into the woods and hacked to death by MS-13 members. She told no one, not out of guilt, but out of terror. The killers had made it clear: talk and you'll be next. The murder wasn't just a hit, it was a message to the entire neighborhood. In El Salvador, gang members have been known to force families to watch loved ones tortured or executed, then leave them alive with a warning. One mother was made to witness her son's slow beating, his screams echoing through their home, before being told, "You'll live, so you remember." In 2020, in Houston, MS-13 carried out a mock execution. A young recruit was tied up, blindfolded, and told he would be killed for failing to follow orders. Instead, they released him after hours of terror. The message? They control when you live and when you die. MS-13's psychological tactics aren't random. They are designed to dominate through paranoia and silence. People won't testify, parents won't speak, and communities fall into quiet submission. This is psychological warfare, a strategy more effective than bullets. It destroys trust, controls behavior, and leaves its victims forever haunted, even if they walk away alive. Number 2. Burned alive. MS-13's torture by fire and branding. In the world of MS-13, fear is forged in fire. Among their most savage torture methods is burning and branding, a ritual of pain that leaves both physical and psychological scars. In 2018, in Houston, Texas, a 16-year-old girl was kidnapped by MS-13 members who believed she had cooperated with police. For days, she was held captive in an abandoned apartment. There, she was beaten, tied up, and burned with cigarettes and lighters. Her skin blistered as gang members laughed and filmed the torture. Her eventual execution was as brutal as her captivity, a warning to anyone who dared speak out. In another case, in El Salvador in 2016, a rival gang member was caught by MS-13 operatives. They didn't kill him immediately. Instead, they branded him with a heated metal coat hanger shaped into their gang's initials, a mark of humiliation, a permanent reminder of their dominance. The man was then released to spread fear, a walking symbol of MS-13's power. Branding is also used as punishment within the gang. Members accused of disloyalty or failure have been forced to burn themselves or be burned by others, their flesh marked as a sign of weakness. In 2020, in Los Angeles, a young woman testified about how her boyfriend, a low-ranking MS-13 soldier, was burned on his chest with a hot iron after disobeying an order. The act wasn't random. It was a disciplinary tool designed to break him mentally while keeping him physically alive. To MS-13, fire isn't just a method of torture, it's a language, a message. And for those who face it, the pain doesn't end when the flames die down. Number 1. Machete torture, MS-13's bloody trademark. For the MS-13 gang, violence isn't just a tool, it's an identity. And nothing defines that identity more than their brutal use of machetes. In 2017, in the woods of Long Island, New York, the mutilated bodies of 4 young men were discovered, hacked to death by MS-13 members. Each victim had been lured to a remote park, beaten, and repeatedly struck with machetes until their limbs gave out. Police called the scene a slaughterhouse. The brutality didn't stop there. In 2015, in Houston, Texas, a teenage boy was abducted by MS-13 members who accused him of disrespecting the gang. He was taken to an abandoned apartment, tortured for hours, then dismembered with a machete while still alive. His body was later found in a bayou, cut into pieces, a warning to others. In 2019, Fairfax County, Virginia, MS-13 members targeted a fellow teen they believed was a rival. They lured him to a park, forced him to kneel, and then unleashed over 100 machete blows. They filmed the attack, not out of impulse, but as proof of loyalty and fearlessness to gang leaders. These aren't isolated incidents. They are part of a terrifying pattern. The machete is more than a weapon to MS-13. It's a psychological weapon used to instill terror in communities, eliminate enemies, and initiate members in blood-soaked rituals. Survivors are rare, and when they do survive, they're left with more than scars. They carry the permanent reminder of the gang's message. Cross us, and you'll be carved up like the last one.